So I just wanted to make this video very quickly because I came across a very interesting piece, and I don't want to mention any names, but it was basically about a philosophy in which people were instructed to take themselves or their desires as God, right? As something they should follow, and as if that's something that's very liberating and that's going to bring about a unified and a peaceful society. Now, it sounds great on paper, we all can do whatever we want, and we don't have to have any restrictions. It sounds great, I agree. But if we look at the social repercussions, right, if we see what effects that could have on society as a whole, if that was implemented on a wide scale, what exactly would happen? What's going to happen is we're going to have 8 billion different people on this planet with 8 billion different gods. And we know that humans are not perfect in their judgment. And they will, by definition, make mistakes. They will make mistakes in this judgment. Some will follow their desires. Some will follow whims that are not considered to be moral, right? We will see alcoholism rise. We will see sexism rise. We will see racism rise. This is where slavery came from. This is where all of these other isms, these man-made isms, communism, and all these things that caused so much mass destruction and harm on a global scale. This is what they arose from. When people took matters into their own hands and they decided to create a philosophy that they thought was going to, that they followed, just created on their own, a self-concocted philosophy where they became their own gods. Once we've established that this cannot necessarily bring about the greater good for everyone, because we know people will follow their hedonistic desires, people will follow their lust, their greed, and this is just something that will happen if you teach that the only thing that you know that certainly exists is the self, and that prioritizing the self over all other things is what's going to lead you to happiness. What about your relationship with others? What about being generous? What about being kind? If there's no benefit to you as an individual, where does that lie? Where do you get the morality of that from? Or is that not moral? Right, so there become all these gaping holes in this philosophy, and if it's applied as a whole by everyone on this earth, this is where we got Nazism from. This is where we got nationalism from. This is where we got colonialism from. Right, people thought they made this own God in their head, this own desire in their head, that they were somehow superior to others, and they implemented that. Right, and if they use this philosophy that the only thing that we know exists is ourself, therefore the only thing that we should follow is ourself, and this is where all of these dangerous outcomes came from. So this is just something to think about, right? It sounds great on paper, but what would it actually lead to? Would it lead to somehow a prosperous society, or would it lead to a destructive and eventually chaos, which could probably lead to the extinction of humans? So this is what I'll leave you with. Do you think that this is a philosophy that should be promoted? Do you think that this is something that people and society as a whole will benefit from together, or is it something that's going to cause us to self-destruct? And I will leave you with that. I will see you all next time.